I can call the young adults, the guys, to come closer, to come to the front, inshallah. Because I like the young adults, not the older guys. The older guys can stay back. I'm talking about the children. Brothers, can you please come up? I want to see your faces. You guys are the ones that make me comfortable.
Again, more forward.
Follow the guys. Come. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. See, these guys give me comfort and you guys give me support. So give me Allah sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I congratulate you all, my brothers and sisters, for the birth anniversary of Ali, son of Abi Talib, Ali Qasim al-Jannati wal-Nar. Ali, the one that humanity, as we said yesterday, bowed to and asked for advice. Ali, the one who gave us our identity. Ali, the one who gave us our meaning. Ali, the one that made existence honorable. Ali, for his love. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so for those who were not here yesterday, we're going to review, because today's topic ties totally with what we spoke about yesterday. So yesterday, we began speaking about love, our love for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Because you see, Ali alayhi salam, his love in our hearts is very different than maybe some of the other imams. His love for us is pride. His love for us is identity. His love is what gives us our meaning in this world. And so we wanted to understand that love. What is the meaning of that love? And we said, love itself for any individual is split into two types. There is love that sprouts from falling in love with that individual's characteristics and attributes. That I look at someone, I study their life, I go by what they taught, I learn from them, and I fall in love with their character. The same way that Mahatma Gandhi fell in love with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, although they were not from the same religion. Mahatma Gandhi falls in love with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein because of the characteristics. I idolize Martin Luther King Jr. because of his characteristics. I idolize you, my brothers and sisters, although there isn't much connection between me and you. Alhamdulillah, I just met you, but I love you for your characteristics and what you offer. There's that type of love. And we said Ali alayhi salam was the father of characteristics, was the father of attributes. He is the one who gave attributes their definition of God. We said Ali alayhi salam sat with humanity, embodied in a human being, manifested in a human being. He sat with humanity. And humanity bowed to Ali and asked Ali, tell me, what do I need to be successful? What do I need for me as humanity to become human? And so Ali began and said, courage. Courage is what you need to begin with. Courage in front of the enemy, and courage against yourself in times of weakness and in times of sin. Courage, number one. Then it asked again, Ali, give me more. And Ali said, justice. You want to be successful? Be just. And Ali is the father and pinnacle of justice. If I begin with Ali's justice, I won't finish. And then one last attribute of Ali ibn Abi Talib was what? His wisdom. And Ali outlined for us, that wisdom is not just facts. Wisdom is not just reading books. Rather, wisdom comes from the spiritual realm. Spirituality. من أخلص لله 40 ليلة فجرت ينابيع الحكمة على لسانه. The one who is sincere to God for 40 nights, wisdom comes from his tongue, just the same way that rivers flow. Ali taught humanity. We looked at Ali and fell in love with his character. We looked at Ali's attributes and melted in front of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And so tonight, we're going to speak about the other type of love, the innate love that we have for Amir al-Mu'mineen. That love that if I asked any one of these children right here, young men, why do you love Ali? They wouldn't be able to describe why is it Ali is so special and so important to them. Even if they had knowledge about who Ali alayhi salam was, there's still something else that rages in their hearts, although they're young. And if I was to ask each and every one of you about your love for Ali, you would do nothing but stand in bewilderment and cry, because there's no way to express what you have for Ali alayhi salam. It's innate. You were born with it. It is something that you have grown with. It is something that you cannot describe. It's a pride that defines your very existence. Ali alayhi salam. For his love, sallallahu alayhi wa. These are claims. This is just a claim that I'm making. That Ali's love is something innate. Ali's love is something that is within your soul and you can never describe. How do I know that? How do I know that? Go to Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Go to Imam Sajjad and listen to what he says in the court of Yazid or Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. In one of his famous sermons, he says, Ayyuhan nas. Listen, he's speaking to the people. He says, أيها الناس أعطينا ستا وفضلنا بسبع. O people, we have been given 6 things, and we have been made honorable and honored over all of mankind with 7 things. What were you given, ya Imam Sajjad? Number 1, he says, Al-Alim, knowledge, Wal-Halim. Al-Halim is patience, when you're teaching somebody, that patience. Al-Halim, Was-Samaha, forgiveness. والفصاحة, eloquence. والشجاعة, courage. والمحبة في قلوب المؤمنين. And love that resides in the hearts of the mu'min. A natural love that cannot be described. It's natural, it's innate. Similarly, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says this beautiful quote. Listen to what he says. He says, if we were to take our Shias and cut them into 1,000 pieces, they will never hate us. But if we were to take the enemy and give him the sweetest honey, he would never love us. It's innate. These are hadith. Go to the Quran. Go to the ayah that we've all been hearing since we were young. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. The Quran is extremely deep, and this is one of the instances. Listen to this. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told His Prophet, answer them, Ya Rasulullah, by saying, I don't want any reward for anything that I've done for you in 23 years except one thing. Mawadda. For who? My Ahlul Bayt. And so listen. What is this mawadda? What does mawadda mean? What's the definition of mawadda? For us, we think it's love. It's not love. Please, it's not love. Mawadda is love accompanied by what? Obedience and actions. Those 2 things. Now the question is, why didn't Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ask for love from the mu'min towards Ahlul Bayt? Why did he say mawadda? Because if you love someone, you're going to be obedient in some way or another. Why did he use the word mawadda, which encompasses the meaning of obedience within? Why did he not order us just to love? Because he cannot order us to do something that is emotionally driven. In other words, can I tell you and command you to love another human being in the fullest amount, in the fullest degree of love? Can I tell you to have an emotional connection with another being that you have no emotional connection with? You have no control who you love. So how is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to love and obey? Because the love is already there, it was created within us. But the obedience is the thing that we need to work on. In other words, God is not going to ask us to do something that we cannot do. Love is emotion. You can't control that. How can He command you to love someone? No. The obedience portion is the one that we are commanded with through the ayahs. This is from the Quran. It's innate. It's innate, my brothers and sisters. It's innate. And that's why you see so many people in history sacrifice themselves for Amir al-Mu'mineen. And not just sacrificed themselves, sacrificed everything that they had. And manifested that love to the fullest extent. The fullest extent. There's a story that I remember here. One of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen had a little daughter. And please pay attention. Pay attention. One of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen had a daughter. And this companion was living at the time of Muawiyah, when Muawiyah was ruling over the Islamic Empire. And so one day, Muawiyah sends this companion honey. And it was a time where there was a lot of poverty, and honey was very expensive. So the servant of Muawiyah knocks the door. Who opens? That daughter. That daughter takes the honey and goes inside and begins to eat it. The father walks in and sees this girl with honey in his hand, and he knew it was from Muawiyah. So he says to her, "Do you know who this is from?" She says, "No." She says, "This is from Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the man who asked the people and commanded the people to curse Amir al-Mu'mineen on the manabir. And for 70 years, Amir al-Mu'mineen's name was cursed on the pulpit of Rasulullah." This man was the one who sent the honey. So you know what she did? She intentionally made herself vomit the honey that she ate for her love for Amir al-Mu'mineen. Who was she? She was a young girl. And this is the action of all of us. This is what we would all do in that case. Because the love of Ali alayhi salam, it overtakes our mind. It overtakes everything. And this is Ali alayhi salam. For his love, sallu ala Muhammad wa Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this is why you have the Shia today. We say Ali bid-dam. We say Ali is in our blood. And truly, I have a sheikh in Windsor. He teaches us in Hausa class. So sometimes in between classes, he sits and he kind of throws jokes at us, throws things here and there at us that we can use on the manabir. So one time he was saying, "Ahmed, you know that all of the Shia have A positive blood?" He says, "A plus blood." A plus blood, why, Sheikhna? He says, blood is Ali. The blood itself is Ali. It's A positive. Ali is in the blood, and the blood is Ali. It's us. It's our definition. It's who we are. It's in the blood. It's innate. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And so I'm asked, why though? See, for us, we understand it. For all of us here, we understand why. Because we can connect to it. The love is there, and we feel it, we know it, we understand it. But someone from outside listening to me right now, the first question that he had right from the beginning, when I started to speak, why? Why is it that you love Ali so much? Why is it that you can't explain this innate love that you have? What is it in you that brings you to this point? Why Ali? And so he says, describe Ali. And so he says to me, describe Ali. And I sit, and I think, and I try. And the only response I have to this man is, Ali is Ali, and I can't describe it. The only way I can describe Ali is saying, he was Ali. Why though? Why is it that way? Why is it the only way that I can describe Ali was by using his name? Isn't that disrespect? The answer is no. Because human beings are valued and understood by their characteristics and accomplishments. If you want to know the value of the person sitting beside you, you look to what they have, what they accomplished, their actions, what they believe in. You look at things that are not their actual persona. You look at things that define them from outside, their characteristics. But Ali alayhi salam is a bit different than that. Ali alayhi salam defined characteristics. Characteristics from Ali took their role and took their understanding and meaning. So how is Ali supposed to be limited by those very characteristics? How am I supposed to say Ali is generous when Ali gave generosity its full meaning? How am I supposed to say Ali is honor when honor learned from Ali how to be honorable, as we said yesterday? How am I supposed to give him these characteristics? And with that, Shaykh al-Wa'ili, the great, great Shaykh, he says these couplets of poetry, these lines of poetry. Listen what he says. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. he says, Shaykh al-Wa'ili, the legend, he says, فَرَأَيْتُ أَنْ أَرْوِيكَ مَحْضَ رِوَايَةٍ لِلنَّاسِ لَا صُوَرْ وَلَا تَلْوِينُ فَلَأَنْتَ أَرْوَعُ أَنْ تَكُونَ مُجَرَّدًا وَلَقَدْ يَضُرُّ بِرَائِعٍ تَثْمِينُ فَلَأَنْتَ أَرْوَعُ أَنْ تَكُونَ مُجَرَّدًا وَلَقَدْ يَضُرُّ بِرَائِعٍ تَثْمِينُ. Listen to what he says. He says, I wanted to try and describe who you were. I wanted to describe who you were, but I was bewildered. I couldn't. He says, rather, Ali, for you, it's best that you are not accompanied with any other characteristics that I try to describe. Why? Because the diamond, if you put a price on it, it goes down in value. The diamond, if you give it a price, you've limited the value of that diamond. If you have a piece of gold and you put a price on it, you limited its value in the eyes of the people. They said it's $1 million. Well, why can't it be 2? Why can't it be 3? Something that is not worth pricing. How can you put a price on it? How can you put a description to it? How can you limit it in the eyes of the people? وَلَقَدْ يَضُرُّ بِرَائِعٍ تَثْمِينُ. For his love, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And so you see, the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen exemplified that love and taught us how to be companions. All of us want to be companions, from the youngest to the oldest. We want to be companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and we want to be true Shia. Brothers and sisters, there's a difference between Shia and Muhabb. Most of us are Muhibbeen, lovers of Ahlul Bayt, but the Shia are significantly different. The Shia hold characteristics like no other. We want to be from the Shia. And a lot of the times we think that this is directed for the younger guys. No. This is directed for myself and the older people in the back as well. We all want to progress. We all want to grow and need to grow. So we want to be Shia. And so we want to show that love and act on that love. Who do we learn from? We learn from the likes of Hijr ibn Adi. We learn from the likes of who? Maytham al-Tammar. Who was Maytham al-Tammar? Listen to this love. Listen to the love that took Maytham, and when you hear about Maytham, you think he's crazy. Took him to the point of no return. Listen to what Maytham did for Ali alayhi salam. And it said Maytham used to sit in the market, and he used to sell dates. Why did he used to do this? Couldn't he get another job? It said he used to sell dates to the people, so if somebody came, he wouldn't charge them money. Listen, he wouldn't charge them money. He would give them their dates and say to them, the price for these dates is that you hear the words and the narrations, a hadith from Ali ibn Abi Talib, from Rasulullah. That's what he did. He used to sit in the market and tell the people, your price for these dates is that you hear a hadith, one hadith. One day Ali and Maytham were sitting down. And Ali says to Maytham, Maytham, do you want to know how you're going to die? Maytham says, yes. He says, come with me. Maytham and Ali go to a tree in the market. And Ali says, see that tree? He says, yes. He says, that tree, for my love, you're going to be crucified on. And once they crucify you, they're going to rip out your tongue. They're going to rip out your tongue and make you an example for everyone else. Why? Because you're from my Shia. The days went. And the rulers came and went, and the rulers that hated and oppressed Amir al-Mu'mineen came into power. Listen. They came to Maytham, took him, and they knew he was from the companions and the lovers of Ali. They took him. They said, what did Ali tell you we were going to do to you? What is it that Ali said we were going to do? He said, Ali told me you're going to take me to this tree, crucify me and rip out my tongue. The oppressor looks at his guard and he says, take him to the tree. Crucify him on that tree, but leave his tongue. Leave his tongue. We're going to make Ali a liar and expose Ali to everyone. So they take him to the tree and they crucify him. And they crucify him. So Maytham instead of making that tragedy a negative, he turns it into a positive. He starts to speak of Ali and show the world who Ali was. Speak of the merits of Amir al-Mu'mineen, his attributes, what the Prophet used to say about Ali ibn Abi Talib. And so that very same oppressor, he looks at Maytham, he sees the people turning against him. He looks at Maytham and says, Sadaqa Ali, and rips out his tongue. Sadaqa Ali, and he rips out his tongue. Maytham. We want to be Maytham. Hijr. Listen to what Hijr did. The parents, think of your children right now and ask yourself, would I be put in this same situation Hijr was put in? Listen to this. Hijr was brought by the people of Muawiyah, and they knew he was from the lovers and propagators for the path of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Hijr had a son. They came in on Hijr and said, we're going to kill you. Say your last wishes. Say your last wishes. He says, I'm never going to stray away from the path of Ali. My last wish is to kill my son first. Listen. And for the younger guys, please. You kill my son first. They're confused. Kill my son. He killed his son. They look at him and say, Hijr, why did you kill your son first? Why did you want your son to be killed first? He said, I didn't want my son to see my severed neck and be scared and end up moving away and turning away from the path of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So kill my son first. I can see my son go for Ali, but me, he might get scared if he sees me die first. Kill him first, then kill me. I'm ready to go. And they killed Hijr. This is for Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is for Ali ibn Abi Talib. They took these negative situations that they were put in and used them to propagate for Amir al-Mu'mineen. And used them to their advantage. Use them to show Amir al-Mu'mineen's value, his courage, his mind, his wisdom, who he truly was, and expose those who hated Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let's do the same. Younger guys, let's do the same. Any opportunity we have to show the world who Ali was, let's use it. Any opportunity we have just to post a quote for Amir al-Mu'mineen on our phones. We're on our phones all the time, young and old. It's becoming a trend. Let's post something for Amir al-Mu'mineen. Let's show the world who Ali was. Because a lot of the times, my brothers and sisters, me telling someone, come to Islam, doesn't bring them to Islam, sorry. Sometimes it's me quoting something. Sometimes me telling a story. Sometimes it's me saying Ali said, Al-Hasan said, Fatima said, Hussein said. Let's use any situation that we have to propagate for Amir al-Mu'mineen and to bring everyone to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Just as the same way that the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen did. Sallallahu alayhi wa. What were those qualities? What were those qualities that made the mu'min fall in love? What were those qualities? What were the things that made Ali alayhi salam so precious in the eyes of the mu'min? The mu'min we're speaking. The one who believes in Rasulullah, the one who believes in Islam, the one who believes in the Quran.